Boop. Happy Monday. Today is Monday, April the 4th, 2022, and today's daily Bible readings come to us from Psalm 20, Exodus 41 through 15, and then Hebrews 10, 19 through 25. And I'm going to take a look at the text from Hebrews, specifically verse 24, where it says, "And let us consider how to provoke one another to love and good deeds." The word translated into English as provoke, it can have negative and positive meanings, right? So in Hebrew, in Hebrews rather, not in the Hebrew language, but in Hebrews here, it's being used positively, right? Hebrews is telling us that we should provoke, right? And it's this idea of like this kind of spontaneous, emotional outburst idea, like we should trigger that in people. That we should provoke one another to love and good works. In other words, provoke one another to love the way Christ loves and the way Christ loves us, to love God, to love Christ, to love each other, and then to do good works as a result of that. Like let that love dictate the kind of person you are and the way you behave, the things you do in this world. Let it guide your work. So that's a positive thing. But here, the interesting thing is when you look this up in the journal of Charles Wesley, it shows up and he uses the Greek word specifically that gets translated into English as provoke. He uses it twice in two different journal entries, one day after the other, in a place where it seems hard to see the positive, and indeed there's not a lot of positive going on. So what's going on? Well, it's all about a girl or girls or romantic involvements. This is really what's going on here. So when we talk about Charles and John Wesley, the two brothers, the people, we always think of it as this being this great thing that was always full of roses and sunshine and happiness, and they were both on the same, they both on the same journey, and they understood what was going on. They were both, doing this great work to, start this thing that we call Methodism and all of its offshoots, right? So we think that they were just, two bros working together, getting it all done. But Charles gives us an honest account of what happens when life gets in the way. Because the truth is, it wasn't always so rosy for John and Charles Wesley. This journal entry is October 1749. And so what had happened was Charles and John had come into conflict over the issue of marriage. Specifically, I think about the year before that, John's marriage, John Wesley wanting to marry somebody. And Charles had kind of gotten involved and, intervened in such a way to prevent that. I guess maybe, I'm not really sure if he talked his brother out of it, but basically it was a situation where it was a really bad idea and it was just going to end disastrously. And so Charles kind of prevented that. But then he himself ends up getting married that spring of 1749. And it would have, John apparently blessed it. It's like it was okay with it. But John, he doesn't seem to have gotten over it, to the point where there's just some bad blood going on. And here in October of 1749, coming off of what looks to have been a good week for Charles based on his journal entries, John shows up, and it's not a good meeting. To where after he meets with him and he goes to do his pastoral duties, because he's a minister in the Church of England on Sunday mornings, he can't. He says that he's trying to do the communion. He just feels dead. So that afternoon, that Sunday after, he goes back to see him again, and they try to talk, and he uses this word that I won't bother you with the Greek, but this word provoke. But he's being provoked. He's being provoked to despair, right? The attitude that he's getting from his brother John, drives the spirit away from him and just provokes him to despair and sadness. And that's the kind of provocation that he's getting from his own brother, that they're giving to each other. In this case, it's pretty sad because that they never really quite get over it. Their relationship never really kind of recovers from this. Hebrews tells us that we should be provoking one another to love and good deeds. And the truth is that we can and we will mess up at that. Even the great heroes of the faith, including John and Charles Wesley, which I know is a shock for all of us Methodists, they messed up. If you really want to have your delusions busted, go and read things that were written by the great people of the faith. Whether you're Protestant, go read Luther. Maybe don't read Luther. But you'll find that they messed up too. So all the great heroes of the faith, including John and Charles Wesley, including everybody else, and including you and including me, we will all mess up. We're all going to mess up royally. We're all going to provoke each other to the wrong things instead of provoking each other to love. But Hebrews reminds us that thankfully that we enter the sanctuary under the blood of Jesus and not under our own righteousness. So there is hope. Pay attention, be attentive to what you're provoking people to. Anyway, that's the DBR for today. Get out and enjoy the day, and we'll be back tomorrow. Boop.